Did you hear about what happened at Tuba City Boarding School last week? This past Monday, September 30th, 2024, the Red Nation attended a community rally in Tuba City, Arizona titled Every Child Matters. Concerned parents, families, and community members gathered outside of the Tuba City Police Department to demand accountability and action for the safety and well-being of students across all schools following an incident of sexual misconduct by a male teacher in a sixth-grade classroom at Tuba City Boarding School. On Tuesday, September 24th, the perpetrator was apprehended by Navajo Nation Police Department at the Tuba City Boarding School campus for public sexual indecency and was released approximately 18 hours later. The families have been unable to receive any further details on the status of the investigation despite several requests. The following is a statement by the parents of the victims and organizers of the rally. While this incident is the latest, there is a history, going back at least 3 years, of similar reports made to the school administration that were ignored and erased. The rally is part of a larger movement to prioritize student safety by demanding school administrations to do everything in their power to protect students and ensure no child is ever harmed in the education system again. Shock and anger have swept through the community after a Tuba City boarding school teacher was caught masturbating in front of his student during class, said K.L. Chino, a parent of one of the affected students and an organizer of the rally. Despite multiple children attempting to report the incident, school officials ignored their pleas, claiming it was hearsay and refusing to act without proof. Despite multiple children attempting to report the incident, school officials ignored their pleas, claiming it was hearsay and refusing to act without proof. Our kids came forward, terrified, and instead of being believed, they were dismissed. They had to do the unthinkable, put themselves in danger, and gather proof themselves to be taken seriously. What kind of system forces children to provide video proof that they're being abused? Our children deserve to feel safe, valued, and protected at all times, regardless of where they attend school, said Starlene Inez, a parent and one of the organizers of the rally. These children were scared, traumatized, and abandoned by the adults who were supposed to protect them. This teacher committed a crime, and the school's inaction is unforgivable. We're demanding justice, not just for these children, but for every student. We are not just standing up for the safety of our own children, but for every child in every school, said Bijiba Bigay, representative of the Navajo Nation Missing and Murdered Diné Task Force. Their safety and well-being must always be our highest priority, and we need real systemic change to prevent further harm. We know that there are already many protections in place, such as rules, policies, and protocols, but none of these were followed to keep our students safe, said K.L. Chino, parent and organizer of the rally. All those responsible for not adhering to those processes are covering this up and need to be held accountable and prosecuted. The rally aligns with the principles of the Every Child Matters movement, which seeks truth and reconciliation to address the legacy of abuse and violence perpetrated by residential boarding schools. This incident shows that these crimes are ongoing, and we call for greater protection, respect, and safety for all children, particularly within educational settings. Parents, families, and advocates will be calling for support from the 25th Navajo Nation Council to support a request from families to the Bureau of Indian Education demanding a full-scale investigation into the Tuba City boarding school system to address the misconduct and failures in the school system and provide answers and justice for our children. Accountability from all identified faculty and administration personnel that knew about the abuse, failed to report it or investigate it, and allowed it to continue. Federal charges for the perpetrator to ensure the teacher is held responsible for the harm caused to the students, families, and greater community. Comprehensive solutions to protect every child to ensure their safety. Mental health support for all students and parents affected by this traumatic event. Request a joint session between the Health, Education, and Human Services Committee and Law and Order Committees of the Navajo Nation Council to hear from the families directly and work alongside respective Navajo Nation departments for justice. The Red Nation was on the ground live streaming the rally. It is available on our YouTube channel, and interviews will also be posted. We are wishing strength, courage, and protection to the students and their families during this time as they navigate this atrocity. If you have more information to add to this case, please email protectourchildren930@gmail.com. And please follow Missing and Murdered Dene relatives for further updates.
Hi, my name is Starlene Inez. Yat ish a Starlene Inez yinche. Na karina ishto loga bashishi ya ani dashiche ado na kai dashinale. Thank you guys for all coming here and standing in solidarity with us. I know this is short notice, but as parents, we have to act immediately and urgently when our children are in danger. And this day falls on Truth and Reconciliation Day, and every child matters. And with the behavior that one of the teachers had done, it caused great harm to all of us. And, this day also falls on the same day that, they're closely together. And this happened at a boarding school, something that the indigenous people of not just North America, but Canada as well, we've been through residential schools. All of our parents, grandparents have been in boarding schools, and they've been caused great harm and trauma. And a lot of us are still dealing with that to this day. So for this to happen in 2024 and, the school not taking accountability, none of the parents have been reached out to, nobody's been given a notice of what had happened. A lot of parents are barely coming forward, and a lot of them want to stay anonymous. And, we're staying respectful to that because this case is very sensitive. And, this man took the innocence from our children. A lot of our children have seen that video. And, this is something that we should not be used to. We've grown accustomed to, just stay away, just don't say anything. But we're here to speak up and to speak on behalf of those children and these parents in our community. Their healing is our top priority. And for us to come and stand in solidarity, this is a way and form of healing. We talk about the protection and well-being of our children all the time, and that's our top priority. When we're born, our parents, that's their priority. And when we have children, that's our number one priority, to make sure that our kids are safe and they're growing and living in harmony. And for this to happen, it is heartbreaking, it's disturbing, and a lot of us are livid. Sorry, it is very emotional, and it's very disturbing because when your child comes to you with a video and knows these things and is just too afraid to speak up, it's you feel like you failed as a parent. The school system failed us because this is happening for 3 years now. And for all of the school faculty to know that this was going on and they didn't do anything, those people are still there. They're there at the school with our children. And for this man to be walking around 18 hours after he was released, we don't know where he's at. We don't know his intentions still. How are we supposed to protect his children when we don't know anything about the perpetrator? And this is for us to come together for healing, to come with solutions, real solutions and healing and mental health help for all of us. That's not readily available to anybody. We don't have any resources. And there's solutions that we have. There's apps out there that we can create for our kids. They can report and make tips for anything that they're going through. None of that is set up here. We don't even have an Amber Alert system on the res. There's so many things that we need that we can come together and request as parents.
Okay, can you take one step back for me? Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so we are in Tuba City, Arizona, and we are here with a parent who organized this rally. Can you give us a brief introduction?
Gowatsi. My name is Kale Chino. I am Tsenjikina, Honeycomb Rock people, and I am also Shashano, Roadrunner from Acoma Tribe. I'm a local to Tuba City for over 25 years. I have attended the Tuba City Boarding School from kindergarten all the way through 8th grade. I have 2 daughters. I don't want to disclose, but I do have 2 daughters. Both are attending also Tuba City Boarding School as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Can you tell us, I guess, just how this began for you, organizing this event and obtaining the evidence to your knowledge?
Okay, so I know it was Friday night, this past Friday night. I can't remember the date on top of my head. I got a phone call from a friend of mine asking me, did I hear about a teacher being arrested on the school property? And I asked her, I was like, no, I don't know anything about it. And she said, well, this happened. There was a teacher. And I said, well, what was it for? And she said, well, he was actually doing inappropriate things in front of the teacher. And so when I was on the phone with her, I saw my daughter sitting next to me, and she just looked at me like side-eyeing me, and I'm like, okay. And she's like, Mom, she's like, I have to tell you something. And my friend is still on the phone, so she's like, Mom, I have to tell you something. And I asked her, what's going on? And she said, so do you remember my teacher from 6th grade? And I said, yeah. She's like, well, he's my teacher again in 7th grade. So he would do things to himself behind his desk and check out all the girls in school, in our classroom, and while he's doing it. And I'm like, what? And I'm like freaking out, and my friend's on the phone. She's like, yeah, that's what he was arrested for. And I said, wait, hold on. And I'm like trying to gather myself, and I'm asking her like, wait, like when did this happen? She's like, Mom, it's been happening for like 2 years now, since I was in 6th grade. And she's like, and now he's in 7th grade with us too. She's the same teacher. And I was like, wait, I was like, what's going on? And she was like, well, she's like, my friends and I, we knew when he was going to do it, and we didn't want him in our classroom anymore. We didn't want him to be a teacher anymore. So we got together. She's like, it was a movie day. So we knew when he was going to do it, and it was going to be on a movie day. And I sat by the whiteboard. I gave them my phone, and I gave the signal when we saw him start. When I saw him start, I gave them the signal to start recording. And my friend got the phone, slid it under the desk, and videotaped him doing it. She said, we already told the teachers, the counselors and the faculty last year. She said, but nothing. They told us that they didn't believe us. She's like, so that's why, like, toward the end of the school year, we were able to get the video, but it was already at the end of school year, so we couldn't do anything. She's like, and so now this year we found out that he was our teacher again. He was our teacher again, and this time, we wanted to make sure that we reported again. So one of my friends reported to our counselor, and she didn't do anything about it. So our other friend reported to the department head of junior high, and she just said, okay, well, I need you to put it on paper and write a statement. And so she wrote the statement, and then soon after that had happened, this other student posted another video of their point of view on a different occasion that this had happened. And that's the video that went viral. So my daughter was like, I don't know how our video got out there. She's like, wait, she's like, the video that's out there is not even our video. Like, this is someone else's video. And so she says, Mom, like, this is why we didn't do it, is because we were so scared of what was going to happen. But we got our statement out there. And so once that video finally went viral and it's recirculated back into the classroom or back into the school, they finally got their solution to the problem was to remove him from the classroom, and they moved him to maintenance. So he was in maintenance for a couple of days, and the police got involved, and he was finally apprehended on the school campus on the 24th, this past Tuesday. From that moment on, my daughter was like, we didn't know what to do, Mom. She's like, and I asked her, like, why didn't you tell me, like, like last year? And she said, well, we didn't know how to go about it, and I was afraid of what he might do to us, might do to me. Like, what if he found out that we're the ones who recorded him? Like, what if he found, like, what would he have done to me and my friends? And so I told her, that's fair, and I understand. I just told her, I said, and she's like, and I know you, Mom, I know what you're gonna do. And she's like, so I was just afraid. And I told her, you don't need to be afraid. You can always come to me. I'm your home and I'm your safe space. Don't ever be afraid to tell me anything. And so through all of that, I didn't know how to go about my reactions. I didn't know how to process it. I just wanted, I was full of rage, and I didn't know what to do with my rage. And I just had to hold my baby and hug her, and I asked her, like, what do we, I was like, let me think, let me process it, and then we'll start with the plan on what to do. And she's like, okay, Mom. And during that time, my daughter had a pageant as well. So she was like, Mom, like, I don't care if I win this pageant or not. And I said, like, why? She's because why am I going to represent a school that didn't even believe me? And that there, it left me like in my tracks. And I'm like, you know what? I am so sorry, like, that the school failed you, but you're not doing this just for yourself. You're doing it for your peers. That's just a label, honey. Like, this, you're standing up for your peers, and I commend you for your bravery on being able to orchestrate something like this with your friends. Like, you and your friends are so brave, and for the child that had to come out and post another video of him, that person's brave too. All these students that have been reporting him. So among the entire time of this whole thing, like, it started to unravel. Like, all of these things started to unveil. Different incidents that have been occurring for the past 3 years have been unraveling as we've been going about this whole situation. So it's kind of up to date on where we're at, and now we're here, and this rally is here, and I am so glad the right people reached out to me, and I feel like everything is just falling into place, and it's all coming together. And I'm so glad there were so many parents here to this day. And although some want to be anonymous, I respect that too, because safety is an important issue as well. And I don't wish anyone to be targeted in this situation.
Thank you for your response. Question I have is, how do you think the rally went today? And was there anything that stuck out to you?
Again, like I said, the rally is way better than I anticipated. I personally did not think anyone was going to show up, but I'm surprised at the amount of people that did show up. Like, some couldn't have stayed through the entire duration, but others did. They stuck around, and a lot of parents were still I didn't realize, but the people that I was talking to in the crowd were actual parents who wanted to write statements to me, to make sure to submit their statements, who have personal things going on, like, hey, he was my teacher this year, or he was my daughter's teacher, my son's teacher, my grandchild's teacher this year, and he was their teacher this year, or this past year too. Like, where can I submit a statement? Where can, like, has my child seen something? And so I'm floored with the amount of responses that we got with this rally, and that was the end goal of this rally, was to make sure that this was publicly out there, because the school did not notify any of the parents of this situation. None of us parents knew what was going on within that school. Like, our children are going to school with an actual predator who's in maintenance. Like, after they were notified, this person was just moved to maintenance, and our children are still in the same vicinity as this person. And none of us were notified. None of us knew what was going on. So the point of this rally was to make sure that it was out there, that the public knew about this person, that the parents knew that this is a safe place to come to, exactly what we wanted, safe place to come to submit your statements and what your personal, what had happened, with your own incident that occurred with this person. This is a safe space for you guys to do that, and it worked out perfectly. I loved how Amber Crotty came out because I've always been head to head with a lot of our leadership because of a lot of corruption that happens within our own government, that happens obviously within our own schools. But knowing that we have people in office that do have our backs, that are backing us on all of this, it literally blows my mind. The amount of attention that this received blew my mind. The support blew my mind. And I loved how, you know, Amber is standing up for, you know, not just speaking on behalf of, you know, us parents, but is really here for the children. And that means a lot to me because rarely you'll see people in office giving a statement or standing on one side of a situation. You don't see that often. A lot of the times our people in office don't have an opinion because they're trying to save their own reputation. But people like her and people that have been up here, you know, they stand with something that they know in their hearts is right.
Thank you. How can you tell us a little bit about the initial police response and then the response today, and how do you feel about that?
So again, like I said, we don't really know too much of the detail of the police getting involved. We do know that it's a slower process when it comes to Navajo Nation Police Department, and I'm sorry, but it is a slower process, and I know they have hurdles that they have to go through too, but from the initial response to them, I'm not sure how their process goes, but I had hoped this person was, will remain in custody until seen by a judge or something. You know how how people do it off the reservation. I just hoped that there were better ways of going about that, because this person is released within 18 hours and is in the community who could potentially harm somebody in the community, not just children, but like adults as well. Like this person could potentially harm someone out there in the community, and only holding him for 18 hours, that bothers me a lot, to know that we're going to be among this person out there and all of the people that are behind his back, terrorizing people, threatening people. We don't want that to happen, and safety is a huge issue on this. And to this day, the response today, I'm going to be blatantly honest, I wish there was a better response today. I really wish we had more information. I really wish we had a plan. I really wish that they came prepared, because even though we were ill prepared for this event, they had this report since Tuesday. Why is it taking so long for this to be processed? And this is a serious matter. It's among a child or children. So I really do wish that the response today was a lot better than, we'll get back to you, because that's all we are always told is, we'll get back to you. And that's not what I like to hear. I want to know when you're going to get back to me. I want to know what the details are. We all deserve to know, because this is all public record now. And we deserve to know, the public doesn't deserve to know who this person is.
Absolutely. Second to last question. Unless Dee has another. Okay. How is your daughter doing, and how is she being supported by the school?
Unfortunately, the counselors at the school, the counselor at the school that they have come to, that's designated in their department, is not a certified psychologist, does not have any certifications to back their end, and has just been a teacher for so many amount of years, and apparently had gotten that position to understand a child's mind. But the trust has been broken with my daughter in the school. I'm sure has been broken with a lot of children as well, students. And because that's the person that they ran to. These are the people that they ran to, and now the trust is broken. So I don't feel there's any support in that school. And I can't say that only because, I mean, I've said it, but I know I have to be mindful because there are teachers there that do an amazing job at what they do. You know, it's just the few that just make it, you know, horrifying. And with my daughter, you know, support system, we're very, you know, spiritual. We have our ways of prayer, and she has her family here. But at school, I can only prep her for school, and that's what we've been doing. But she just told me, you know, Mom, I want to be there for my friends, and I know my friends are going to be there for me. And it's sad to hear because you shouldn't have to go to school to, you know, be there for them, you know, like, but I understand because, you know, that's your coping mechanism, and that's all of your coping mechanism is you're there together, like you were in this together and you guys are coping together, and I really commend all of you guys for doing so. As far as reaching out for the school, there's no mental health services available. Any health services, it's hard to get in with them because it is a month long in advance. Just because the therapists and the psychologists, they serve a widespread of 100-mile square radius, so it's hard to get in with them. So support service wise, I am not too sure. But a lot of it is rooted from home. And I just tell her, you know, take that to school with you and share these types of mechanisms with your friends.
Thank you. Lastly, what would you like to see moving forward? And is there anything else that maybe you didn't get to say that you would like to let our listeners know?
We want answers. We want answers. I don't want to get emotional again. I'm trying so hard to keep this together, but I want answers. Why were our kids turned away? Why did no one believe our children? Why did no one report? Why is this swept under the rug? Why is there so much nepotism? Why is there so much corruption? Why did our kids have to endanger themselves to go to this extent of obtaining sufficient evidence? Why did they need evidence to begin with? Why were they not believed? And who was there for our children? Who was really there for our children? It blows my mind. We want answers, and we want justice as to why this man, how did all of these kids know about this man and the faculty did not? How was he a joke of the school and the administrators didn't do anything? The adults, literally the adults who we entrust with our children, you know, where is this all stemming from, you know, and why are kids being treated so poorly? And I want justice, and I want to make sure every single person that pushed our children away and that knew about this situation and didn't do anything about it, I want them to be held accountable for their actions as far as being a mandated reporter. I want them to be held accountable for that, and I want this man to be put where he belongs, because this is so not right. Contact or no contact, this man traumatized, emotionally distressed, and traumatized our children, and that is not right.
Thank you. Is there anything else? Or hold on.
Last question. Who do people follow for like more information, and I guess how do people get more information?
Okay, so I know missing and murdered Diné relatives. I've been working closely with Bijiba. She has been, and Janine from, I believe, Indian Collective. They have been closely in contact with me, and they have provided that they would be doing a lot of updates for us. I'm not sure if it's like on their Facebook page or their social media pages, but I will personally also be updating people on this matter as well. And my social media is just KL Chino. It's just my name, first and last name. That's on all socials. And I know it's a very sensitive topic, and my social media platform is not really about situations like this, but this really does hit close to home. So we know we're going to make some changes on that. But I know MMDR and Indian Collective have been closely in contact with me about this, and I know for sure that they did reach out and let us know that they're going to start updating and do the PR releases and all of that for us. So I'm very thankful. I'm so grateful for this whole team, man. I am entirely grateful. I was so unsure because I had made an initial post on Facebook and I didn't know it was going to grasp this much attention. I just thought it was just going to be me standing alone because I didn't know where to go, how to go about these things. And I'm so glad. I feel like Creator has sent all these people in my direction because they know I knew I wasn't able to get through this alone. And I have such an amazing team behind me. The groups that are standing with us, the people, the delegates, the other higher people, the senators, and like standing with us in solidarity, like that makes my heart so happy because we're all here for one goal and one goal only, and that's to protect our kids. And it makes me so, so, so happy. And my heart is jumping with joy because we have that much support.
Thank you so much, Kale, and
Yeah.
thank you and your family and your daughter for your bravery. And you can add the Red Nation to your list of support, and just all the strength and prayers to you and your daughter on navigating this.
Thank you.
We'll keep an eye out on the social medias.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Let me give you a pamphlet. Okay, yeah, if you could give us an introduction.
Yat Eshik Adoshna, Shay Sterling Nezincha, Nakadina National Lokabashichin, Kiani Dashache Auto, Nakaidashnale. Hello, my name is Starlene Inez, and I am a parent and a community member here in Tuba City. I'm originally from Coal Mine Mesa, and I'm also one of the organizers here at the rally today. And I'm just so super thankful for everybody showing up and, coming out and supporting and standing in solidarity with us, especially on this day of truth and reconciliation. Not only here in North America, but also in Canada. There's lots of boarding schools where there was a lot of historical trauma. And I want to state that when we say historical trauma, it sounds like it's 100 years ago. And that historical trauma is just so recent ago. It's like 50 years ago, 30 years ago that these things were happening. And it's happening to this day, at the Tuba City Boarding School, at the same school that my mother went to, and my uncles and aunts. And they had to heal from that pain and, make life better for us. And then for it to continue now in this day and age where my daughter has a video of this happening, and all these other kids that have witnessed this, whether or not those kids saw this man doing these inappropriate things in front of them. I'm sorry, it just makes me so livid having to talk about this again. But, those children are all victims. And I want to say, we're here for you. And there's a lot of parents that were afraid to come forward, and, that's why we're here. And this is what means. This is community. And as a Diné woman, I feel like we're obligated to be here for each other, to stand up for injustices, to stand up against abuse that is happening. And we don't want it swept under the rug. These are matters that a lot of us have dealt with. And, as a lot of us organizers here, we're sexual victims and we're survivors. And we don't want our children to go through that. We don't want any of these children, and I see another Diné child, I see them and they're like my nieces and nephews. And in our culture, we see each other that way. And that's why we have a clan system. So out of the whole group of children, I'm pretty sure one of them has my clan. And it doesn't matter, because they're all Native children, they're all Diné. Or some of them are Hopi and other tribes, but still, we have to stand up and voice our concerns and get these justices served to the people that are not being held accountable at this time.
Thank you. How do you feel about the community response today? I'm
glad that a lot of community members came out. It's small. It's starting out small just because a lot of people still aren't aware, and a lot of parents aren't aware still that, their children were victims at the school as well. There's no information being brought out by the school. There's no disclaimer saying that this incident had occurred. Even from PD, the FBI still didn't know about it. BIE didn't know about it. And we reacted pretty fast on Friday when we found out. And, as parents, it was very stressful. It was very worrisome. And we just reacted to the best of our ability.
Wow. Okay. So he was arrested on Tuesday, and you didn't find out any of this until Friday as a parent.
Yes, until Friday. No, Thursday evening, like I think around 10 p.m. I found out. And then Friday, I had contacted KL. She's one of the parents and organizers. And, we were just there for each other. And, it was like a lot of crying. There's a lot of emotions running through us. And, of course, anger and frustration. And that's when I reached out to my other colleagues. And we just decided, we need to organize. This needs to be professionally handled. We need lawyers. We need the whole 9 yards. And we reached out to so many leaders and organizations and, people to help in that, because we don't know how to go about certain things. Then we need professional insight on things and how to go about them. So we're taking all the steps and the measures to make sure that, justice is served and these parents are heard and they know their rights, as well as the kids.
Thank you. Can you tell us about the people who were here at this rally, who y'all organized to be here?
So it started out with me and Biji Bobby Gay and KL Chino, and we're all parents, and all of our kids were at the boarding school. KL still has children there, and me and Biji Ba had my daughter graduated from there or promoted from there, and Biji Ba removed her kids from there, and we were coming up with a game plan. And so we reached out and, we got a hold of Janine from Indian Collective, and then from there we worked with Kamala for missing and murdered Indigenous and their relatives. And we reached out to Amber Crotty. I'm so thankful. She's one of the strong advocates that comes through, and she drove all the way this morning. And, we've reached out to other council delegates. We've reached out to other organizations, a lot of leaders that came out. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names, but there's so many that was on the meeting yesterday. It was a Sunday, and we were in that meeting all day, discussing the traumas that had happened. And, that was a sort of a way of healing for us, to expressing that, and then providing solutions and recommendations, and this is what we want, and what type of accountability we want, and how we want our council to come in and stand up for us. We're talking about law and order and how we're going to implement things. And, everybody that came here today, like Amber Crotty, and then Laurel as well, she stepped in, and Kamala, and, even Brett Isaac from Navajo Power. These are a lot of people that came out and showed to stand in solidarity with us. And, that's important, because it shows that we're not alone, and it's something that truly matters to us, because it doesn't matter how small we are, but we're going to voice these concerns, and it's only going to get bigger because there's not enough parents that are stepping forward yet, and people are still finding out. But this is just a start. And I know it's going to be a long process, but we can't give up on our kids.
How do you feel about the initial police response and the response today?
Wow. So originally I thought, since it's a government school, I thought that this was a federal crime, as with any other crime that does happen here. And I usually understand that they get sent to, the county jail, and they wait their sentencing or court date there or whatever. But to find out that it was just reported to the local Navajo Nation Police Department from the government school, that was frustrating because we didn't know all the details. Nobody told us anything. We couldn't find anything. We thought, it's a federal crime, so we're not going to know too much. But to come to find out, it was a Navajo Nation PD, and they released him after 18 hours. And, that in itself was scary because, my sister was murdered a couple of years ago, and her assailant, he got out of jail, and she didn't know he got out of jail. So he went to her house and he murdered her. And with this situation, I was worried about the parent safety. I was worried about people that were speaking out safety. If he got out of jail and we don't know where he's at, and we don't even know what he looks like, that those types of dangers that we're looking at when not enough information is being outsourced and it's not given to us. I worried about KL's safety because, she spoke out first, and then we put out a press release and our names are on there, and we don't know what he looks like. We don't know where he's at. We don't know. He could be going to Mexico for all we know. So, these are things that are of great concerns, and they're questions that need to be asked. And, with the Navajo Nation PD coming forward and, explaining today what it is, with the FBI not having information or anything and nothing can go forward yet, that is frustrating. And I feel like it's infuriating because we expect more from the justice system. We expect more from, this BIE school, for it to be this small of a thing. It's not fair to these children. Where do we hold accountability to, and how are these laws supposed to protect us? They're in place for, protecting our children, and that it keeps us in a vulnerable state.
Thank you. Just to wrap up, is there anything that you want to mention to our listeners that maybe didn't get mentioned or overlooked, or just anything else you would like to say?
I'd like to say, I'm so sorry to any of you parents if you are listening to this, to your children. This should have never happened. I have a very heavy heart right now, and I'm speaking on your behalf to get justice for you and your children. And, it is going to be a long process, but we can get through this. And please go to the Tuba City Police Department and file a report with Officer Dash. That is one of the ways that we can start there. Make your police report and your statement. And we also have an email and a text system. You cannot call the number, but you can text and email the number provided. The number is 844-604-0873. And our email is protectourchildren930@gmail.com. We'll be taking statements, and we will also be turning that into the BIE. And, we want to get mental health services through other organizations provided to you and your families. And we want to bring lawyers in, and we want to sit down and explain to you your rights, and explain to your children their rights. At this time, I believe a lot of people don't know their own rights, as students, as parents, as community members, and, really educating you guys and coming up with other solutions in the future. And I believe there's an app that is available, if you want to tip off any type of weird behavior. If you want to report something, your child can put that on their phone and send it in anonymously. And, that's one solution. There's other things that we can implement and push for on legislation. There's whatever ideas that you have, whatever concerns you have, you can message the number. We'll be making posts, and we'll be updating on the missing and murdered denied relatives page as well. And, we'll be having more meetings. We'll be putting out flyers. Rest assured that, our team is working hard to bring your children justice. And, this is not only for the boarding school. We want this applied to all schools on every res. We want to protect our beautiful res babies and, keep them safeguarded and keep you at peace and know that we're here for you. So you're not alone in this. And yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your strength in all of this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give us a brief introduction and any organizations you're representing?
Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Yat she Kaylee Vizu Unisha. Naturna touching in a shlin, okay, bashchin, sit na jenny dashachena kaira shanale. Aro tornest is it de nasha. So I've lived in Tuba City my entire life. I'm an alumni of Tuba City Boarding School. I've represented that school as tribal royalty before. And now I am an organizer in my community and other border towns like Flagstaff. I do a lot of work with other orgs like Hallno and things like that. So big in the grassroots movement now. Yeah.
Thank you. Can you tell us just a little bit about why you came out to support today?
Yeah, so we just didn't know about any of this until today, really, and like last night, like when the post started to go circulating around the community, and then we ended up finding out that it's one of my nephew's teachers, and we were very surprised as to why my nephew wouldn't tell us about this. He lives right next door to me, and we're all close. That's how it is with Indigenous families. Like even extended families are like your own biological brothers, sisters, and parents. So it made us think, like, have the children who have been exposed to this crime that occurred and traumatized by it, have they been silenced by the school? Have they been requested by the school or other officials due to it being an investigation now to maybe keep quiet about it? Or is it that they're maybe afraid to tell their family or older members, in their community about what happened? Are they afraid of retaliation from the teacher? Regardless, us as families of these students didn't know about this until it took a few brave students to speak out. So we're here to support them, especially today on September 30th, Orange Shirt Day. Tuba City Boarding School is one of the original boarding schools created for the assimilation of Indigenous children here in the United States. And 120 years later, these things are still occurring. We all know what happened in these boarding schools a long time ago. They're places of like sexual deviancy perpetuated against students and things like that. And, centuries later, here we are. So, yeah, we just wanted to shed light and show up and support the students and the families who are being impacted.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to add to that? Or do you have any, profound thoughts or remarks about how today went?
I think it's because it's also last minute. We're all still scrambling to find like answers and comfort with each other. And as to what, we're really concerned about the students. It doesn't seem like the boarding school's really doing anything substantial to support these students. If anything, it seems like they're just trying to sweep it under the rug from what we heard today about how they handled the teacher and things like that. So yeah, we want justice for these students. We want more information available to the public. I don't know why we're not. Tuba is a very small and tight-knit community, and yeah, we're all here for each other.
Thank you so much. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, we are here. Hold on. Too tall Jones going on.
Hello.
Hello, we are here in Tuba City, Arizona. Demetrius Johnson, can you tell us about how today went?
I think today was pretty powerful. I mean, I really sympathize with the parents, the organizers, when, like you want to do something, you speak out and you try to organize an event, and maybe if like you're new to organizing events, you're just like worried that no one's going to show up, or if anyone thinks it's going to matter. And I'm glad to hear that they said like a lot more people showed up than they were anticipating, and I think that's huge. Like, I think it was Starlene that said that, she talked about what it means to have relatives, to have people that show up for you when things are hard, or like when there's a tragedy that happens. And, that's what makes Diné people strong, is that when shit gets tough, we show up. So to me, it was like beautiful to see that people from everywhere coming and supporting the children and the families that are affected by this. Yeah.
Thank you. And do you have any thoughts about today being Orange Shirt Day, or I'm sorry, Truth and Reconciliation Day?
I don't know. It's like, it's kind of like it's like eerie, or like eerily poetic. I don't know what the word is, but like to know that history is like repeating itself is, it's tragic. I know there's been like a lot of they're elders now, just like that elder that spoke today of like, like we survived that, and like we didn't want that for like the next generations. And so for this to continue to happen, it just means that for us, like we have to fight harder. And like think having a rally and having people be aware of like these things are still happening, like there has to be a reckoning with like the federal government and like our relationship as Indigenous people to the federal government. I think we're seeing like all these years and all these decades of like trying to reform or like trying to make things better since the boarding school era. Like, it's not enough. Our children are still being harmed, and I don't know, I think it being on Truth and Reconciliation Day is I don't know, I hope it makes people aware that these days that we commemorate, Truth and Reconciliation Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, like these are not just days to just like show I don't know, disingenuous or just like I don't know, cheap acts of solidarity. It actually takes like material and like I don't know, it takes people power to move things, and today was a testament of that.
Thank you, Dee. Is there anything else you want to say to the people?
I don't know. I love my people. Just support people when you can. It was actually, all of them, all these people, the parents were mothers, they were Indigenous women. And again, it's just like, I don't know, Indigenous women like protect our communities. They keep the fire going for all of us. And I just say like it takes all of us to support them too, to support the mothers, or even just protect and support the children too. They shouldn't have to fight. It's up to us, and it takes everyone. So get out there, support, and be knowledgeable about what's going on in your community. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Most adults don't do at all. Most community members, but then again, you stood up and you know that, a lot of, each and every one of us don't have a safe person to go to, even as an adult. But for her to have her friends come and tell her what was happening, and for her to be brave, I commended her for that. But a part of SWIT too, I just wanted you guys to know, we can come out to communities. I have a director and two directors that we do trainings all over Arizona, and Tuba City could be one of our next stops here. And other than that, like I said, just hug your children. Don't, if they tell you, if you want to ask questions, let them tell you. Don't bombard them with questions. Don't say, why did you do this? Why didn't you tell me? Their little brains and their hearts are not ready for that. Just listen and take whatever information and try your best not to keep asking them over and over. But right now, the kids are so brave at the 7th grade level. But I just wanted to speak on part of that, and thank you for you guys for coming out. You know, look at this. We're small, but then there's other individuals that are out there, and hopefully that their voices are heard as well. But as part of SWIC, we are more than willing. We work with Laurel. We work with Amber Crotty as well, delegate, and but we are a tribal coalition here in Arizona.
All right, thank you. I don't know if any other parents want to come up and, speak. We'll give them some time. Bijwa's going to speak now. Bijwa Begay.
Thank you, everybody. If there are no other parents that want to come up, we're going to wrap up here pretty soon. And I just wanted to say thank you. And, it's all been stated, we're here together, we're in this space together. I brought my babies with me today because I wanted them to see the community. I wanted them to see your faces, that they know there are safety places available, there are safe places available. And although we may have been shaken as a community by this, we are not broken. We are not broken, but we are very cautious because we're talking about a boarding school. We are wearing our orange proudly today because we know the realities of these kind of actions. We're not naive. We are so far from it. We know how far these kind of things go. And many of us are standing here as survivors ourselves, representing our families. I'm angry. I'm so angry. But I'm also very thankful. I am so grateful for this community. Of all the communities, this one, we know the strength of our community. We know the strength of us as mothers, as parents, as fathers. Our children were incredibly brave, and I am so sorry to those babies. I am so sorry to you. They're gonna watch this, but they're gonna know that we're showing up for them. There are lots of questions that have not been answered. We are gonna get those answers, and we will not stop. We will not stop until we have answers, until we can go back to our children and we can tell them that they can be safe, that they are safe. If that means that we need to create parent groups, if we need to make those resources more available to our children, they need to know that they have rights. And that's what really struck me with our young people. They did what they needed to do. They did exactly what they needed to do, and it was the failure of this school system. It was the failure of those adults that we entrusted our young people, our children, to them. We tell them when they go off to school, they don't want to leave for us. When they go off to summer, they have a great time, and we say, you're going to go off and you're going to get an education. We were raised with that. Go climb that ladder. Go get an education. And this is what's waiting for them? That is not okay. That is not going to be the standard. We are drawing a line in the sand. We are going to hold ground for our community, for our children, for one another. There are lots of answers that we didn't get today, but we are going to get them. And I just want to applaud everyone. Thank you. Thank you. We're strong. Our ceremonies are strong. And we're going to hold on to those, and we're going to carry those things forward. So thank you. Glenmore is going to close us out with a prayer if there are no other comments that parents or advocates want to make. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you again for everybody for coming out. Again, this is a very sensitive topic, and I appreciate all of the parents that came out as well. I just want to remind all of us parents that you have a great support system. Do not be afraid. We have plenty of people that are backing us on this, and we are the voice for our children. We are the voice. We are the ones to protect our kids. And, you know, we, again, like I said in my speech before, we demand answers as parents. We demand answers as children. We demand answers as a community as to why this has been going on for so long. And we want to know why the corruption is there in that school. We want to know why there's so much nepotism going on in that school, and we need to stop that immediately. There's so many qualified candidates out there that can take care of our children with better care than these people have. There's so many qualified people out there, and we're not giving them the light. And that's where the corruption needs to stop, because it's hurting our kids. It's hurting our next generations, and furthermore. So if there's any parents out there who do want to remain anonymous but do want to submit any statements, you know, my Facebook is open, my email is open. I can definitely put that out there, my email and all of that. And if you just want to remain anonymous, definitely write that up on top. But we do need the statements. We do need the support. Your statement does